Hey everyone, welcome back to Spirituality Sessions. Today we are moving on to episode the moon. There's a lot of spiritual, astrological bits and bobs going on right now, so I struggled to pick a topic to do this week, but we went with the moon. As per usual, I have a beverage with me. We've got a peppermint and licorice tea. Don't mind if I do. Very fancy. I really like licorice tea. I find it really nice. Everyone's like, licorice, weird, don't put it in a tea, but licorice root is, for those who know, is good, it's really good. Okie dokie. So when we talk about the moon, we have to dial it right back to basics, ancient science, and that is how the moon affects us, why it affects us, and does it really affect us? So there are countless articles out there talking about how the moon affects the human perception and experience, and I will link some of the most interesting ones that I found down below if you want to go and have a look at more of the sciencey side. I'll just summarise a couple of them for you. So in science, when you think about the moon, you think about water. Now humans are made up of 75% water or thereabout, and so Sir Isaac Newton, god of gravity, he basically came to the conclusion that because the moon affects water, it must therefore affect the water in the human body and certain other fluids in the human body. This all came from ancient studies or ancient beliefs within cultures and traditions that come or are linked to women and the moon. The moon in itself is a symbol of womanhood. You think of sun as man, moon woman. Heterifying, I know. Because the lunar cycle is roughly 28 days and the menstrual cycle is roughly 28 days. It links up. Actually, I'm going to double check that. I'm pretty sure it's 28 days. Okay, the moon takes 27, this is according to Google, the moon takes 27.3 days to orbit the Earth, but the lunar phase cycle from new moon to new moon is 29.5 days. So it coincides pretty nearly perfectly. Yeah, those sorts of ancient sciences have led us to believe, or it is ingrained within certain cultures, that the moon holds a sort of feminine energy and the sun holds a sort of masculine energy. There have been other studies as well that indicate that on a full moon people become more violent and act in a more aggravated way because their emotions are heightened. There's a whole bunch of studies. I will leave some websites for you to go and look into studies on the moon if you're interested in the sciencey side. This leads me on perfectly to talking about the moon and its relation to astrology and its position and all that jazz. I'm going to be doing a separate video on astrology. It'll be my one next week, so keep an eye out. But little crash course. Through the astrology lens, everyone has a sun sign, a moon sign. There are other signs as well and other placements of planets, but moon and sun are pretty important. Your sun sign is the star sign that you were born under, so that is generally your zodiac sign. And then your moon sign is the placement of the moon within the sky under that zodiac realm as well, or at the time that you are born. That was very poorly worded. If you look at your moon sign within astrology, it supposedly will show you how you deal with, accept and express your emotions. As the moon circles the earth during its monthly cycle, it moves through the different segments of the zodiac. So there are 12 if you didn't know, and I'll go into more detail about it all next week. But that's why the moon doesn't rise, set, and you can't in the same place, and you can't always see it in the same place every night because it changes, spends about 2.5 days in each little segment of the sky as it moves around. As the moon passes through your lunar sign, so whatever segment of the sky the moon was in when you were born, you tend to feel sort of at one with yourself. You tend to just be a little bit more connected to your emotions and feel things a little bit more intensely. When the moon becomes a new moon, so when it's dark and you can't really see it in the sky, the way that it moves around, it will become full, a nice little round little blob in the sky, in the sign directly opposite the point where it became new. I know I didn't articulate that very well, but I'll try and insert a diagram so you can see what I mean by showing you just a map of the zodiac So for example, the new moon, this new moon is the 21st of June. It's a new moon in Cancer, so it will become full in the sign of Capricorn. The July full moon, which is also known as a buck moon, as in B-U-C-K, male deer moon. Full moon names come from a whole bunch of different cultures, particularly farming cultures, and they basically help to determine what is going on within that month. So the moon that we just had, the June full moon, was the strawberry moon. So if you have any strawberry plants, maybe you noticed that you had some strawberries within the month of June. They just grow particularly well around sort of June time, hence the name strawberry moon, indicating a harvest for strawberries. Another example is the upcoming full moon, a buck full moon. So another example is the full moon that's coming up in July is known as a buck moon. So that indicates a buck, which is a male deer, young male deer, growing its antlers to their full reach and becoming a stag, which is quite nice. Most of the names that we use for full moons come from Native American culture, and websites like the Farmer's Almanac have really lovely descriptions for each monthly moon and why they're called what they're called. I'll leave a link for that website in the description because it's a really nice website if you are into growing things. The only exception is a blue moon. So often you'll hear the expression, once in a blue moon, never in a blue moon. If there are 2 full moons within a month, the second one is called the blue moon. So they're quite rare, they don't happen very often. The last one that happened was March 2018, so it was quite a while ago. The next one is on the 31st of October, Halloween. Spooky stuff is gonna happen. I mean, we should all be scared. 2020 is coming for us, but secretly it's really cool and I am just so excited. So I've talked a lot about a full moon. I also mentioned a new moon, so I'll try and explain to you the different phases of the moon and how they sort of correspond and correlate with our behaviour. I'll try and insert a diagram so there's some sort of visual to what I'm telling you, but there are 8 main phases to the moon. Starting on day 1, the birth of the moon, we have a new moon, then the waxing crescent, the first quarter, the waxing gibbous, the full moon, and then we carry on with the dying sort of aspect of the moon, so the waning gibbous, the third quarter, the waning crescent, and then back to the full moon. Okay, what do those mean? Is it important to know about waxing and waning and crescent and quarter and all sorts? Not really. Not if you are interested in sort of like harnessing the power of manifestation. But if you're interested in how the moon affects our behaviour on a day-to-day type basis, I found a really good website that talks clearly through all of the different phases of the moon. I'll link that below if you're interested and want to read more about the specific sort of days and phases of the moon. I'm going to talk about the new moon and the full moon and how you can manifest sort of differently on those dates, why you should manifest differently and how to manifest effectively on those dates. So the new moon is a really good time to create and set an intention that you want to carry on for that lunar cycle. It's a time of intense creativity and brainstorming, so I mean, if ever you were going to come up with a project, now is the time. Just because you're setting an intention, it doesn't mean that it can't be reflected upon and made better. So that's what you use the waxing element of the moon for, to sort of have a look at your intention or have a look at your project, see how you can better it and maintain it, and basically like prep it for the full moon. The full moon, here she comes. Okay, when the moon is full at its peak, it is manifestation stations. When the moon is full, it's at its peak energy, which means it's the perfect time to manifest on the intention that you set out to create, achieve, manifest at the start of the lunar cycle. The kind of manifestation that you may want to introduce at a full moon is repetition of your intention, mantra making, so you can keep that intention going. Just emotive meditation on the manifestation, anything that feels energetic to you. You should use the waning, sort of dying aspect of the moon to reflect upon your intention, reflect upon your manifestation. you tend to see your manifestation come to fruition within that waning aspect, usually closer to the full moon, but depends on what you're manifesting. Because the moon's energy is depicted as being strong and powerful around the full moon, then charging crystals, that sort of thing, if you're into it, a full moon is a really good time to charge, reset, etc. It's just a really good time to clear everything out and start to wind down that cycle. I hope that was informative and I didn't waffle too much. Again, I'll put all of the links and everything, any websites I find, book recommendations, everything that I have to do with the moon and its lunar cycle in the description, so go have a look at that. I thought it would be a really nice idea to show you a sort of more arty, I guess, representation of what my new moon ritual looks like. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the video. Have a wonderful new moon!